This is Urasawa Boys, a podcast where we read and discuss the works of manga artist and author Naoki Urasawa. Right now, we're reading Monster, and Monster deals with a lot of dark and troubling topics and themes, so a list of content warnings is going to be available in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Hi everybody, welcome back to Urasawa Boys. We're doing this one again because
Hey folks, we haven't introduced ourselves yet. That's Samuel Quinn Morris. I'm Matt Fennell. I made a joke in one of the tweets at one point about how, after 3 episodes, You're a Real Podcast, we had our first guest on episode 10. We made it into double digits, but last week we crossed a true milestone for any real podcast. We accidentally annihilated a whole episode.
Almost
Gone.
a whole episode. We recorded
like
about
an hour plus. Yeah,
a good solid fucking hour. And what happened was that about 16 minutes in, I think I pressed the space bar by accident, and I must have had Audacity selected, and I didn't notice because I had it minimized, and that's not a mistake I'm ever making again. I'll tell you that much.
Hang on. You have to go into more detail. Audacity was not showing because Quinn is working on an ultra-wide monitor that has been unfortunately completely, half of it has been obliterated. So the ultra-wide has become a normal-sized monitor. So screen real estate got all moved around, and Audacity wasn't showing the way. It was a confluence of events.
Yeah. All resulting in the fact that we recorded about an hour of what was some pretty good pod.
We talked about the DC universe and Marvel and Crisis on Infinite Earths. We were getting real off topic, but there were some fun digressions that are lost like tears in the rain.
And so it just seems like to me that this reading is kind of cursed because both Matt and I agree that this is the least interesting reading we've had thus far.
And I think this is going to be the 4th time that we've tried to record on this.
Time. So there's just something about the Matt, this is episode 13.
Oh, lucky number 13.
This is episode 13, baby. So that's kind of exciting.
That's why.
Actually.
Okay. So that's really fun that 13 is our cursed episode.
Yeah, that
one and only.
Recontextualizes the whole thing. Now I think it's kind of fun.
Now it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, folks. Now you know. There's always a silver lining, and in this case, it's the number 13. What I've been up to? Been watching a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Just watched the first Mad Max.
How is that? Because that one's different from the rest. That's before it's desert.
It's before
Australia.
the desert. It's kind of just Australia. It's a little bit weird and a little bit funky. And I'm not sure how much I like it. I would be interested if you saw it.
I think people don't really like that movie is the general consensus.
It's not amazing.
It's historically important because I think it was the biggest film production in Australia up to that point or something.
Oh, really? Was it?
I'm
really
pretty sure.
That's
or maybe it was the highest grossing film out of Australia at that point.
Oh, a highest grossing, yeah. I remember reading about it, and basically it was something like it had the highest profit margin of any film until Blair Witch.
Okay.
So
yeah.
But yeah, so I've been watching a lot of movies, watched RoboCop, watched Terminator. Liked RoboCop a lot more than Terminator.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You don't like Terminator?
I didn't think it was that interesting.
Have you seen Terminator 2 before?
No, I do need to get to Terminator 2.
Dude, Terminator 2 is so fucking good. Especially if you don't know the conceit of Terminator 2, which I'm sure you do just through cultural osmosis.
I barely. It's like there's always a bigger fish, right? And
I
then,
mean, that's how sequels work. But the big bit in Terminator, the opening of Terminator 2.
Leave me to it.
Okay.
I'll discover. I'm excited.
Yeah.
But
some movies for Quinn.
Before we get into it, we do have a couple of announcements to make regarding the Patreon.
Yes.
Which is that, so we've been talking about how we're going to do the anime on the Patreon. No, we're not.
We're not
going to do that.
It was a lofty goal, but
we wanted to do it, but there's in what world were we going to be able to watch a 74 episode anime like
that by all
doing
accounts
the
is a straight adaptation?
It's a straight adaptation. Like, there's interesting stuff in the adapting of it, but that's not enough to warrant an entire other podcast
about
it. So we wanted to be interested in doing it, but we weren't. So instead what we're going to do is we are going to do the ranged touch style of bonus content, wherein we are going to watch movies and stuff that have to do with, like, inspiring Monster. Here's the stuff that Monster is kind of constructed out of. And so that's gonna mean watching The Fugitive.
Which I am so excited. I picked up a copy of The Fugitive at the used bookstore today, the Blu-ray. Yes. I'm going to be doing the Cameron Kunzelman, watching the movie and the commentaries. I do not have a very brave wife to sit with me and watch the movies with me,
Matt,
but I will make do.
Of course you have a brave wife. You have me, because I'm going to be visiting you soon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we can watch it together.
We can do that together.
Oh, that's going to rule. Okay, so we're going to watch The Fugitive when you're here. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, very excited for that. And of course we are going to get some Maintaining Balance. Matt, I know you want to have, like, good notes for Maintaining Balance, but I just feel like you and me, like, we like talking. And so, like, why are you worried about notes? Let's just
Well, is this where I spring it on you?
Balance.
That I'm going to do it today?
We need to...
Because that was the other thing we came up with during the last episode. I'm just going to spring them on Quinn at some point.
It's time for Maintaining Balance.
It's time for it.
We can't do it in the middle of an
We can't do it right now. I'll do it. I mean, but the notes are done, and I am wearing the Beef of Chicagoland shirt.
Very exciting. Okay, so. Yeah, I'm really excited to do more Maintaining Balance, because it's just a good excuse to hang out with Matt, really.
Yeah.
So
that was announcement number 1. Announcement number 2 was our next season. I'm sure, if our listeners are tuned into the Urasawa news, Netflix dropped a trailer for their upcoming, their immediately upcoming Pluto anime adaptation, which is set to drop in October, I think the
October
29th.
29th, yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that's the date. So our plan is, just through, like, timing and everything, Monster will wrap up, I think, the second week of October. After we're going to do a wrap up episode at the end of the readings. We're going to take a week break between, and then we're going to pick up. The anime will have come out. I don't know if Netflix is dropping it all at once or if they're doing their their whatever. But so we'll be starting our second season, which will be on Pluto, right as the anime is starting.
Which is pretty exciting.
It's exciting,
and we'll be able to talk about the anime along with the manga, which, like, it's going to be a bit more doable.
Yeah. And I think just because, for a lot of reasons, but I watched the trailer. I'm very excited to read that series. I'm very excited to watch that show.
Not to spoil too much, but when I'm watching those trailers, I'm over here and I'm like, there's a lot of stuff I'm seeing in these trailers that I don't recognize.
Okay, that's a good sign to me.
It could be a good sign or it could be a bad sign, and it makes me very curious. Like, I haven't read Pluto in a little while, so I could just be off myself. Sure. But I'm pretty sure there's some stuff in there that I don't recognize. But the stuff that I do recognize, I'm like, so very, very excited. All right, do we want to get into it? Oh, just real quick, regarding the Patreon stuff. Everybody, thank you, so much for supporting us, and we are marshaling our forces, and we're going to have some great bonus content for you coming up.
Yeah, thank you so much for sticking with us. We really, really, really appreciate it.
All right. Overall thoughts on the reading, which we've already talked about a little bit.
So we're not going to beat a dead horse. But this reading is not my favorite. I think there's some good stuff in here, but I think ultimately it spins its wheels a little bit too much. And it really feels like after the high that we ended on with the last reading, this one, it just feels like really we slashed that tire and all of the air immediately went out of it.
Yeah. Like, we had a lot of momentum coming into this reading, and it just feels like it really didn't do anything with it. Yeah. Which kind of leads you to wonder, like was that momentum, like, on accident somehow? Like, it's, we talk a bit about Urasawa being the kind of guy who knows what episodicity means and how to work with it and what to do with the cliffhanger. But, he didn't here. This just feels like a really strong misstep pacing-wise, which is weird because that's one of his most pronounced strengths.
Right, and like every other time, I mean, the thing that I have said over and over and over again as we read this story is I have no clue how you continue to go for, X number of volumes. And this, every time we go in a direction that is completely brand new and I think could feel kind of out of place, like when
Mm.
we introduced the stuff in Munich, right? Or just all those new characters. I feel like that had the potential to go bad, but I don't know. I think we spent the time working through that, and there were a lot of interesting threads there.
Yeah.
Here, stuff feels simultaneously overstuffed and rushed. I think was kind of like if I were to kind of try to come up with a complaint. So it feels like we've made a pit stop we didn't need to.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the best way of putting it. And I partially, to me, it might also be that like it's a return to Dusseldorf. We're back in Dusseldorf.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this was a story that wanted to return somewhere. Or if it did, it would be later. It kind of feels like if we were going to return to Dusseldorf, it would have either been like before this point or after this point. This just feels like an awkward spot for it. And it also feels like there's not really a strong reason for it to be taking place in Dusseldorf, or even like, I don't know. We were talking about how it's like, it's interesting and unusual for him to actually have gotten caught. But here we are, and he's gotten caught. What are we really getting out of this? Like, there's some character growth, there's some, like, character change that happens that is interesting. There are, like, results that come from this direction that Urasawa is taking it in, but the question is, like, are these really productive for the story and for Tenma? Or, or is... I don't know, I feel like a lot of stuff that happens in this reading could happen in half the time by cutting half of it, right?
Yeah.
Like... Yeah, it's the individual pieces. There's not a lot wrong with them, but the way that they're arranged makes them kind of a chore to get through.
Yeah, from my side, like I said, overstuffed. I think this one makes a mistake of it tries to introduce two kind of like new characters, and I think one of them is pretty good, and the other one I don't really like at all. But maybe it feels like we've spread a little bit too thin. And in addition to all of the stuff that you said,
it's like it's like it's too thick and too thin at the same time. It's like we're eating a bunch of junk food over. These are empty calories.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah,
because it is the shape of all of the stuff that we have liked, right?
Yes, it should, by all rights, everything that's happening here should be the same stuff that we love about Monster leading up to it. So, like,
but it's empty calories.
What about this reading, like, isn't hitting? And it might just be that maybe we're fucking full at this point.
Honestly, that's a good point. Yeah, we've been going for 6 full volumes at this point. You might be right there, right? It's like we've started to run the course. This play doesn't work anymore.
I say that, though, but then I think about how much I love Billy Bat, and I think about 20th Century Boys, and Urasawa's thing is just throwing more and more characters at you, so, like, it's hard for... I don't really know if it's fair to say that this is a... that we've hit some kind of character cap that we won't like having more characters. I think there's even more characters that show up later in the series that I like more than these. There's just something about the place and timing and execution of all of this that makes this weaker overall, and I'm looking forward to digging more into that.
Yeah, so let's talk about this reading, and then we'll put a pin in it and see maybe either in our wrap-up or as we continue to go through other stories, like if we can figure out what we don't like about this in particular.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that, Chapter 105, Love Letter from a Monster. Jan wakes up in the hospital to the news that Tenma's been... arrested. That's the word. He was arrested. And then he tries to leave, and a couple cops find him, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, don't worry. We know you didn't do all those murders. It was Grimmer." And Jan's like, "Oh, man." And then he remembers Lunga's advice and begins to think about the beautiful blonde girl that he was flirting with. Actually, I swapped those orders around, but whatever. It's not super important. In the meantime, Lunga goes to the Red Rose Mansion, checks out the room, the spooky room with the big portrait, looks behind the portrait, and finds a note. The chief of police calls him and says, "Hey, bro, we got Tenma. Good job. You wanna come on back, interrogate this dude?" And Lunga says, "No, I'm on vacation." Reichwein and Ava are at the police station. They want to see Tenma. They can't see Tenma. You know who can see Tenma? Lunga, who I guess, well, this is the police station in Prague, so Lunga dropped by and gives Tenma a little bit of advice on how to make life a bit harder for the cops that are about to interrogate him. And he reads the letter he found from behind the portrait. It's kind of spooky. And he says that a lot of people died in that room, and a terrible monster was born.
Dun dun dun.
Ba-da-bum.
Yeah, I think the highlights of this one are the Tenma Lunga moment in the hallway. Is the main one, because it's and like the stuff with Lunga that leads up to this, right, where it's like, you know, he has, it seems like on one hand it's like he's completely over Tenma as a suspect, but then on the other hand it's like, okay, he is still working on the original case. He has just, you know, it's not that he has dropped the Johan murders. It's he has new facts, and now Tenma is not as important to him, and so he's zeroing in on what is important. So it's been, you know, I've said it every time since we've talked about the mid-season finale. It's been really interesting to see Lunga transition from antagonist to more, I think you said like parallel protagonist in the last episode, and I really liked that. And just him get into the bottom of it.
Yeah, and hanging out with the whole sequence where he's like walking through the mansion and it's quiet, you know, like, that's cool. I like having that sense of space.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun sequence. The stuff with Jan at the beginning, I think is a little, you know, it's kind of like, well, I guess I better wrap up this plot thread. You know, it's it doesn't strike me as being super interesting. The bit where he begins to suspect, you know, Johann as Anna, there's something there, like that was one good page, I would say, but that's not really, like, it seems like a long walk for a small drink.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know why I phrased it that way, but
no, I think that's a good way to phrase it. But you're definitely right. It's like we're loading the gun of Jan is going to show up in our moment of need to, you know, crack the case on this. Is what it feels like.
Yeah, and I just feel like it could have been
maybe not necessary. You know, we could have done this when it happens.
A different time, you know. Yeah, totally. And we don't see Jan again for the rest of this reading, which also kind of makes me go, like, why is he here right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, generally in a reading, you know, you have a reading is pretty well organized. You know, you want to only include things that are going to be important, right? Because Urasawa knows that each chapter is an episode, and he also knows that each volume is an episode. He's very good at thinking in volumes, and so it's weird to see Jan here when he doesn't play a role for the rest of this volume, because it's a violation of Chekhov's gun. You know, it's a violation of know your tools, and make sure that you will only have the tools you need.
This is a really interesting thing for you to bring up. I mean, last time, you know, we talked about, we got real excited about the idea of, like, stories as an atomic unit or something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And
I was just listening to that yesterday, and how much we got into
oh
that.
Man, it was so much fun. But, like, you know, we really we dug into serialization and then a story as a whole. But we never really talked, I mean, we talked about how do chapters function. We talked about how does this fit in the story as a whole. But we really haven't talked about, like, volume breaks and stuff like that. And I think that isn't, I'm really curious, like, I mean, you say Urasawa was very intentional in, or maybe not maybe intentional is not the right word, but like thinking about how to break up into volumes. And it's,
well, I mean, think about it, right? Think about how manga is sold. Manga is sold in magazines, right?
Chapters.
First, well, how does it? Yes, so here's the thing. So manga has two periods of publication. First is the chapter by chapter publication in a magazine, and that can be either weekly, monthly, or bi-weekly. And so that's the first thing. And then after that, then the tankobons are released, and those are 8 chapter collections usually. I guess they're 9 sometimes. And then maybe later, if it's very popular, then you get these combined editions, right? So the thing is that the vast majority of series are going to be collected in 8 or 9 volume editions, and that is how the vast majority of their lifetime sales are going to occur, right? So somebody who is aware of that, like this isn't something that Urasawa was uniquely aware of. I would say that anybody working in manga with the intention of selling these things in tankobons understands the importance of working with that medium and making a tankobon exciting, and especially using the end of that tankobon to make people excited to buy the next one, or at the very least excited to read the next one. Like, there's, manga, we forget a lot about the fact that manga is a business and that individual mangaka have much less job security than Western comics creators. Because Western comics creators, they work for a company. They are assigned to different jobs within that company, right? You have more job security because you are a personnel member that can be shuffled around, But when you get to a mangaka, especially if you're the one that's headlining that thing, you can't just, like, go back to being somebody else's assistant. Like, this is your career. They are just giving you a platform, so it's up to you if you succeed or fail. And that means that they're very aware of the business side, because it always comes down to business. Both with comics and with manga, but the weight of business falls on different shoulders between the two industries, because they're similar in some ways, but very, very different in a lot of, like, the money side of things. Very, very different. And so, like, when it comes to publishing manga in the volumes, knowing, like really putting emphasis on that end of volume cliffhanger, I think that's something that everyone knows.
Sure. And I guess as we talk about it, it is not as unique, I guess, as I first thought. Because, like, when I think about Western comics, Cape comics are usually a lot of 4 and 5 issue arcs. In my experience, and then when you've got collected editions, you'll get 2 arcs, in a collected most of the time, just as like a very rough rule.
Yeah, you can get longer stuff. You can obviously get your shorter, more single issue plot lines, which are often some of my favorites.
Right. Yeah. Like 2-parters, I think, is like my favorite, especially for like Batman. It's like if that's also true.
Like, the interesting thing about that, and I wonder if we can see some of this, like, if we look back at manga too, but the procedure, the common practice, the best practices for how long an arc should be in Western comics has changed over the decades, right? Because in the 70s, those were all 1-parters, 2-parters, maybe the odd 3 if you're going really crazy. But then as you start to get closer and closer to the present day, plot lines start to get longer and longer and beefier, and now they're including this other comic too, and now they're doing this. Like, in the fandom, in the community, we call this process the serialization of comics, the way that we moved away from single issue poppers to larger storylines. And some people really like it, and some people really don't. I think there's a lot to love about both of those things, but it makes me curious, now that we're on the subject, like, well, did manga go through the same thing? Have mangaka always been thinking about the volumes, or were things more one-shotty back in the day? Like, I don't know. I'm not versed enough with manga from, like, the 80s or even the 90s to really say if they were different structurally too much. But it's an interesting
stuff to talk about. Yeah, for sure. So, okay, we said we like Lunga wandering around the mansion. We talked about Jan.
Yeah. Go on.
I was just going to say, I mean, Lunga kind of, like, very subtly telling Tenma that basically what he needs to do is, when he gets to the police station, just shut the fuck up. It's good. And, like, the recognition that Tenma has on his face that, like, oh, Lunga's not the one who did this to me. Like, he is on my side now. I think that's that's a very good moment.
Totally. When Jan's when the cops tell Jan that all the other investigations that he was being considered for have been closed because of Grimmer's letter, to me, this, like, echoes a lot the thing that we've heard a couple of times regarding, like, Johan stuff, which is, it's all resolved. Like, there's nothing to worry about anymore. This kind of way that apparently people from Kinderheim have of making a problem go away or ruining a life for another life to benefit, right? Johan did it. Johan ruins other lives to benefit himself. But here, Grimmer ruined his own life to benefit benefit
someone else.
Jan.
Yeah.
You know, he made all of these problems go away the same way Johann can, but by taking them on.
And I think it's interesting,
shoulders.
like, especially if we think about, like, you know, what Lunga said when he went to Johann's apartment, right? Like, no trace of a human being, right? There's absolutely no speck of evidence that is left in this whole thing. So it's just like the existence of the person itself. It just becomes like I guess like the magnet for whatever all of the stuff that is happening. I don't know. It's stuff to continue to think about in like how there is a void at the center of these Kinderheim people, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
What do you think about this fairy tale?
The fairy tale, the spooky letter. Well, all of the sads at the end are kind of laying it on a bit thick.
Yeah, I think at the same time, it's a move that's like, well, I know this should be spooky, but it comes across as a little corny.
It definitely does.
So for the readers, basically what happens is there's panels where we've got speech bubbles that say sad, just kind of like shotgun sprayed across the page. As if someone was just like scrawling the word over and over and over again in a letter.
Very, very 90s kind of spooky, right? The 90s loved it when like people were just like repeating, well, I guess like
even in The Shining, we like that, you know, all Shining, work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah. Man.
Repetition is spooky. It's just
repetition can be spooky. It's just like here, like I just don't know if it really jives with the other stuff, because like it's this kind of nice flowery letter, and then at the end it's all these sads, and I'm like I kind of get it, but it's just like, and I love, to be fair, I love the visual texturing. Yeah. Like you said, the shotgun spray of all those bubbles over other things. Like visually, it's a really cool effect, and I don't know what you could have done with it except repeat sad. So it might be an interplay of like just like this might be a little corny, but look at how it looks, and I can't argue with that. But I think the poem is kind of cool. There was something we mentioned the first time we did this about this poem that is super.
Well, we talked about, you know, they say that this poem is weird. It's kind of like a prefiguring of the monster story, right? There's a lot of things that we see show up in the Nameless Monster, right? Like eating each other, stealing names. But I think the big thing here is that he says stealing names is the worst sin.
Yeah, the worst.
So
sin
he
of
gives
all
her
is
name
to
back.
Steal someone's name. Yeah, and he gives her back a name. I think that's the key. The worst sin of all is to steal someone's name, and we talked about a bit like how this really keys into some of the other themes and stuff that we've been seeing, especially in the last reading. You know, the importance of names and the fact that like kids at Kinderheim would lose their names, and names are such a big thing. You know, someone's name is this, you know, obvious stand-in for their identity. Their identity not only is understood by themselves, but is understood by others. It's a byword for their existence. Proof of their existence is that they have a name that other people know to call them by. You know, so the worst sin of all is to steal someone's name, because that's not just killing them. They don't exist anymore once they have no name. That's gonna be, I think that's gonna get us a pretty long way.
Yeah, it seems like
in this manga. Let's bounce to chapter 106.
Okay, chapter 106, The Escapee. We open with a monologue from Gunter Milch, a man who exists in a never-ending cycle of botched armored car robberies and extremely successful prison escapes. Currently, he's back in prison, and so is Dr. Tenma. When they pass in a hallway, Milch comments that Tenma seems to have not a spark of hope. Tenma is questioned by the police, but remains silent, revealing nothing. Milch pretends to be violently ill, part of his MO, and asks for a doctor, but the prison doctor is indisposed, so the guards get Tenma. Tenma immediately sees through Milch's ruse and comes up with an excuse to send the guards away. Milch shares his backstory with Tenma. His parents were laborers who kept him in a locker during the day and promised that they'd leave for Tunisia someday, and eventually left without him. He talks to Tenma about hope and escaping over and over again, only ever thinking about when he'll get out, never the if. Tenma is questioned again and finally speaks, telling the investigators that they wouldn't believe the truth, and valuable time is being wasted while he's in here, but he is going to speak the truth anyways.
How do we feel about Gunter?
I like the introduction of Gunter a lot. We kind of run through we open in color pages. This is
Yes.
we've always noted when the color pages come up, they are used here with Gunter's introduction.
Yeah,
We've got the bright
effect, really, it's so saturated. It's
Yeah.
honestly really nice to look at. Like, it totally sells it.
Oh yeah, we've got the bright blue skies and the oceans and kind of white. I guess it's not marble, but whatever, like those white stone buildings in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And it's real striking. And it's we open with him kind of that refrain that his parents always used to say is, someday we're going to go to Tunisia, we're going to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go through Gunter's rap sheet, which is just kind of all of these, we get little snapshots of all of the different escapes that he's pulled. Which is something that I really like, and I know we're going to keep referring to the original recording because it exists. It's there.
It's so,
in our minds.
It's
it
really
weighs
odd
heavy.
to be like having the same conversation again. Although
yeah.
we are saying a lot of different stuff this time.
Yeah, for sure.
That is better, frankly.
Oh, I think so too.
I think we're actually.
This is a better
I'm glad
episode
we got
13
another
than the
go.
last episode.
Yeah,
Already.
we're saying some fun stuff.
But I think we kind of differed on, this is something that I really liked because it feels of the genre that we are, Prison Break story, right? Where like we're introduced to someone through their rap sheet, right? Or like something like, I don't know, like there's not
like Leverage,
right? Leverage, or well, actually, I have not seen Leverage, so I can't.
That's insane to me because Leverage seems incredibly Mattcore.
Leverage is on one of the premium cable channels that I did not have. I don't remember which one.
It just strikes me as like this, like fucking like campy crime bullshit.
See, I do like that. That is a thing that I enjoy.
Like, it's such a chili cheese dog television show to me.
Ooh, that sounds great. Maybe right? I will check Leverage out, but
I think you should check Leverage out. I see no reason why you particularly wouldn't really like it.
I'll probably like it. But it is, I think this is a staple of the genre, right? It's like a quick way to introduce characters in prison. It's like, what is their rap sheet, right? And it's like, it immediately becomes clear, like, okay, these next chapters, it's Prison Break. That's what we're doing, right? And we're giving Tenma the into that type of story through this character.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts on it?
So my thoughts on it were, one, that I do think I would have preferred to hear what he did from his own mouth, like in the thing, because what we have here is something kind of unusual where we're told about this guy from an omniscient narrator. Right. Like, it's no one in particular, and in this manga and with Urasawa's work in general, it's not like he never does this, but he's a little more used to giving us exposition through a character. And we get exposition from him later this chapter. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, I just feel like we could have done all this kind of in one go. And I don't know if it's worth the weird structuring for it. It's also a lot of Prison Breaks. I would have been sold like on 4, but
let me count how many it is. Just
like,
for effect, let's count how many it is. We've got 1, 2, hang on. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5. So 1 over 5. The number that you would have been okay with.
Okay. Well, 1 makes all that difference.
It really does.
But one thing that we were saying last time is that it is fun that like both of the characters introduced in this reading once again maintain Urasawa's, or at least Monster's, habit of bringing not only is it an Urasawa open, but it is one that brings someone in from a different genre. But this is also kind of unusual, and come to think of it, maybe this is actually part of what makes this reading a little bit weird, is that normally people come from a different genre and then are dragged into Monster. This reading is more like Tenma's being pulled into the Prison Break. Mm-hmm. And I think I think that might have something to do with it, is because we are seeing Tenma doing stuff and engaging in tropes that it kind of feels like he's not really supposed to be. We're like, why is Tenma doing this instead of Tenma things?
Right. I think that's fair, because like if we think about it, if we go back to Heckle, right, like Otto, his introduction, right, the end of that chapter where he's introduced is Tenma and Heckle looking at the graffiti that Johann has left behind, right? Like Heckle is immediately dragged into this horrible monster stuff, and then he's there through the Turkish Quarter.
anyone, you know, even
Everyone.
Tenma at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the thing is, okay, you know, I'm so glad we had to
did this
re-record
again.
this.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Lucky 13, I guess. I guess it just didn't want us to do it until we were ready.
Right. That's fair.
But I think what makes this reading so weird is that it is a decentering of what Monster's actually about. It's putting our main character, our viewpoint character, into a different genre, dragging us along with it, and now we're doing this story. That's not the story that we've been doing. Like, because like we've been saying, it's other stuff being dragged into Monster over and over again, and that every time someone is dragged into it, we are reminded how intense and dark and awful this is. But in this case, we're being separated from it.
Yeah, Johan's not here at all in this chapter.
Yeah, we don't see him,
in this
not
reading.
even in this reading. He's not here at all, I don't
think.
And
I think that's unique, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that this is the only reading where we don't have Johan show up directly or indirectly at all.
Yeah, especially once we hit the second half, you know,
yes.
and so I think that fact that we are being removed from the stakes.
We're off balance.
We're off balance. Well, yeah, it's the stuff that the manga cares about is all of a sudden different. Instead of, oh, is Tenma gonna track down Johan? Is he gonna get out of jail? Like, it just feels like,
and that's just not as interesting. That's an obstacle, right? We're not making progress.
What a perfect way to put it. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons,
a game that Quinn famously hates.
Yeah. It's like if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, right? We can use this exact thing. You're there, and then you get surrounded by a bunch of cops, and then DM says, all right, roll to see if you can get away, and then you fail the roll. Well, what happens then? Then you go to jail, and then, because your DM wrote out the whole campaign and didn't plan for you to go to jail, then your only goal is to try and get out of jail so you can get back to the actual story, the actual critical path.
And
it's
not
a waste
in jail,
of
you're just in
time.
a tunnel with a bunch of dudes that you have to clobber between you and the exit.
Exactly. And that just feels like what's happening to Tenma here is that he's just been waylaid by this failed roll, and it's keeping him from doing the stuff that we are actually reading the manga to see him do.
Look at that. We have a take.
Wow, man, do we ever.
Yeah.
And I think the frustrating thing is that just like, if, like, it wouldn't have taken much to integrate this section with the other stuff that's going on, right? What if Gunter had contact with Johan in some way?
Yeah.
Huh? You know, what if maybe there was somebody else in the prison who was one of Johan's pawns, and then it was like, can we get out of here before
this guy gets us?
This guy gets Tenma. You know, like, there were a lot of ways that we could have done it, and we could have even spent more time here as long as it actually mattered.
Connected, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's not integrated. And I think, you know, that's what makes it weak.
Yeah.
Moving along with this actual chapter, now that we have officially diagnosed the structural problems.
We got the problem. We found it.
Man, I feel like a real smart boy now. I don't know about you.
That was really good. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yeah, no, I like Gunter's introduction. I think he quickly becomes kind of grating. For a couple reasons, and we spent some time in the original reading talking about, like, okay, this is a character who's in a state of arrested development, right? Like, he is constantly repeating his childhood trauma. He was someone who, when he was a kid, his parents put him in a locker while he was in work, or while they were at work, and they abandoned him. He was found like 3 days later on the verge of death, just a very sickly child. And since then, he has learned to he just keeps doing those same two things. He gets himself locked up. He pretends to be sick. He escapes. And he just kind of is always repeating the same thing, saying the same stuff. So he quickly becomes kind of uninteresting. But the thing that he does do is he has his
later.
What's that?
He has an interesting moment a tiny bit later.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing that he does for Tenma here, right, where their conversation about hope, right,
yes.
And how for Gunter it's, okay, I'm always going to break out of prison. Like, that's a given. It's just kind of how and when am I going to do it? Not if, you know, and I am hopeful that it's going to happen. I mean, I would even say it goes beyond hope. It's almost certainty, right?
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. Yeah, and he basically, and he's like to Tenma, like, I have hope. not like you,
Right.
you know,
And so it causes
and
Tenma
that
to kind of
kinda,
reconsider.
yeah.
And it's good. So he plays, he is moving Tenma forward, in kind of a weird oblique way. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
another example of like you can see what Urasawa wanted this character to do for Tenma, and he does do it.
mhm.
It's just like not as clean as it could have been, and the stakes aren't as high as they could have been. Yeah, I don't think there's a whole awful lot else to talk about for this chapter. Timing wise, just a quick note: we are currently in 1997,
Okay.
and if you'll recall, the whole thing with Johann shooting oh, I've forgotten his name this
Jungers.
time. Yes, thank you. The whole thing with Johann shooting that, like the whole thing that started this deal, that would happen in '95. So it's just this interesting thing of like time moving forward, kind of as it pleases in Monster, and like we only kind of find out about it in like throwaway speech bubbles or something like that. It's not something that is taking center stage, but it's something that you can keep an eye on if that's interesting to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to 107?
Yes.
Okay.
107.
The lawyer.
The lawyer. There is, believe it or not, a lawyer. His dad was accused of being a spy and spent his whole life in prison. And so this guy became a lawyer specializing in defending the innocent, and he has exonerated all his clients, every single one of them. And he is speaking with someone in his office about representing Dr. Tenma. And then he goes to visit Dr. Tenma and asks him a few good questions about the situation and about how everything got started. And Tenma really says a lot about his motivations in the story, and we get a really good like clarifying look into the character. Like all of this stuff was like present subtextually, but now it's text. And then he then the lawyer agrees to take Tenma's case.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Pretty much.
I spent a long time in the last episode talking about how I don't like this character, and I think just because some time has passed since the last time that I did a reading, I maybe have softened on it a little bit. But I seem to remember my main complaint was like, one, this guy he feels almost even too tropey, right? Like a lawyer with a perfect record, right? But then the other thing was I was very unsettled by one of the details is, his father, who was accused of being a spy, ran a radio station, and his sign-off song was always Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And he tells this to the lawyer who comes in asking him to represent Tenma, and plays the track, whatever. But then when his wife comes in later and plays the track, he seems to be really upset by it in kind of a way that's a little bit unsettling. Like we get kind of the shadow over his eyes and stuff, and his reaction just seems a little out of whack. So it's interesting, and I Quinn, I'm going to steal what your remark from this discussion was. You said,
Please.
it's interesting that we're seeing a character who is like doing objectively the most, one of the characters who has objectively done the most good in the story, right? Like someone who is fighting for the rights of the innocent who have been accused. But we are really unsure. There's like some weird darkness at the center of them that's just kind of off-putting. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that I dislike this character or if the story is working and I'm supposed to be suspicious of this character. I think it's probably the latter.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Like this, it's super intentional. Urasawa doesn't, like even when he missteps, he wouldn't fuck up a character that strongly. Whatever we're seeing in him, we're supposed to be seeing. Whether that is going to be effective or not in the long run, we'll just have to find out.
We'll see.
But it is interesting, he's a good person, or he's doing good, but we don't know what kind of a person he is. Which, now that we think about it, now that I hear that again, it actually reminds me of Johann as we saw him, doing all of that charity work for kids, but oh fuck, here he is, telling him to walk off buildings. But yeah, it's just interesting the way that the series, talks about like what you do versus who you are. There's a lot of people that have done terrible things, that have taken lives, many lives, but we're meant to understand them as being, either reformed, or that, nothing really condemns you forever. Look at Rosso. Like that guy was a hitman for a long time, but he's clearly a sympathetic character, or at least a complicated one, and so it's just one of those things that Monster's doing. Like, we're in the first half, we were taking on that little stop whistle tour of different kinds of murder. Well, now it feels like we're expanding on that, and now we're like, what things can a person do that are good or bad, and what does that actually have to say about whether they're a good or a bad person?
Yeah, I was gonna say the tie is there directly.
Connection?
Yeah, because the conversation that Tenma and this lawyer's name is it's Fritz. What's his last name? Is it Wasserman or
I want to say
Neumann?
Newberg, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. Let's see real quick.
Verdeman.
Fritz Verdeman. Okay, so like the conversation that they have.
Where did I get Newberg?
I don't know. Tenma, they go back through the story of, and this is the interesting thing as well, right? It's like Tenma does the thing that he always does, where he tells the story of Johann, and Fritz is the first person who says, no, that's not where it started. Where did it start? And Tenma goes back to the Turkish woman, right? And, some lives are worth more than others, and how much that has informed everything that he has done since then, right? And then Tenma makes this statement, as a doctor, I don't know if a patient is good or bad. I still haven't figured it out. And then Fritz says, it's the same for lawyers. So to me, what this seems to suggest is, even beyond, doctors and lawyers, are you representing good and bad people? It's like in our day-to-day, right? Like just as a person in the world, we don't know if the people that we interact with are good or bad people, right? And like, how does that uncertainty affect how we connect with other people, and like what we do and how we exist in a world where there's good and bad and everything in between, right?
It's and of course, like, we see these people, and Tenma and Verneman kind of have something in common, where they're struggling with the fact that they can't know if the people they represent are good or bad, and they struggle with wondering whether that makes them good or bad.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that that's something that happens a lot in real life, that question of, who do I associate with? What do they say about me? And it's just an interesting, this talking of like trying to judge people, trying to understand what someone really is. And I don't think Monster has formed us a conclusion yet. It's a little bit premature for that, but we can definitely see that this is what Monster is thinking about and talking about.
We're just swirling around the horrifying ideal of being known,
Yeah, and the fact that we can never truly be known, and we can never truly know another person.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do with the fact that it is completely impossible to really know another person? Are you brave enough to befriend someone or put your faith in someone when there's no way to be sure? And Monster, at least right now, is saying, yes, of course, and it's probably what you should be doing.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely on the side of, it's not taking and when I say conservative, I'm not saying big C conservative, I'm saying little c conservative. It's not taking the conservative approach of, well, you can't know if a person's good or bad, so you shouldn't associate. It's saying you need to take that risk regardless. It's like, you need to do the right thing, even if you don't know, what kind of person this is.
Yes, absolutely. Like, doing the right thing cannot be subject to...
Oh, and that's the ultimate question, right? It's like, how does Tenma, what does he do? Because, like I said, I've gone back and forth on, like, I've gone from absolutely he should kill this terrible child to like, well, no, killing this child is not the way forward. But I don't know what is. So I'm very excited to keep reading.
Totally. It's cool.
Do you have other notes on this chapter?
God, not particularly, no.
Okay.
Just that, like, this is a really good chapter for talking about the core of the story, what really matters. There's a nice little moment where Verneman mentions, like, the list of people who requested
Oh, that's
that
great.
he represent Tenma, and he mentioned some names, and Tenma's like, oh yeah, that guy, I hope he's enjoying his life with his children, and it's just this, it's like, oh yeah, there's Tenma, that's what Tenma is, he's a doctor.
Yeah, that is a very good moment. I said last time how much I liked the spirit bomb for Dr. Tenma, and this is like him getting to see it, I think is
Yes.
very rewarding.
Yes, for sure.
So that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Chapter 108, The Witness. Ava celebrates her return to Dusseldorf by getting blackout drunk in a local pub and harassing the bartender and some of the dudes she used to hang out with. Fritz meets with Dr. Reichwein, who recaps his version of the Tenma-Johann saga. Fritz says that he's been doing interviews trying to find details and alibis to build Tenma's case, but it doesn't look good. Reichwein is convinced that to prove Tenma's innocence, they must prove Johann's existence, but Fritz says that the key is that people want a scapegoat, and the real focus is keeping an innocent person like Tenma out of jail. Fritz remarks that the person he's been looking for is Ava, and Reichwein frustratedly admits that he's brought her along, but she will probably be uncooperative. Later, Reichwein tries to convince Ava to testify on Tenma's behalf, but she refuses to, saying she's happy to see him rot in jail. She passes out from drinking too much and is struck with a nightmare about seeing Johann on the night of Junker's murder. Fritz reflects on the next steps for the Tenma case, but is called away by his wife going into labor, so he sends his partner on the case, Herr Bauer, to meet with Tenma. Surprise, surprise, Bauer is Roberto. He survived the fire, lost mobility of his right arm, has become ambidextrous, and is here to kill Ava.
Bum bum.
Our good friend is back.
It's our trusted friend.
Oh, man.
You can always trust Roberto to come back. Yeah, and I think I asked you this last time, but you clocked him as soon as you saw him last chapter, right?
Immediately. So in the previous chapter, we get a shot from behind, and it's that Roberto has a ponytail, right?
It's not a ponytail. It's like a mullet, but he's balding on top.
Yeah, he has a very specific hairstyle, and I did think it was suspicious that we weren't seeing the other side of this conversation. We weren't seeing that guy's face, because as we've said a million times, and now I've learned, Urasawa writes face manga. So when we don't see a face, I think it is something that is important.
Yes, especially if you have like a whole like page-long conversation with somebody and you don't see their face, like that means something. It doesn't always mean the same thing, but it's always important.
So I became suspicious, and then when the Roberto reveal was dropped, I did pop for this. And man, I think it's so good that he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm just not used to writing with this hand. And then it's like, oh shoot, like he hates Tenma and Ava so much that he has learned how to use the opposite side of his body, and he is still probably like the Terminator. He is an effective killing machine, and he's gonna do it.
Yep.
It's so good. He's like, yeah, I survived this horrible accident. I lost all of this weight. I have rebuilt my body, and I am here to ruin your life. Man, it's good. It's good in a lot of ways, because also it means that Tenma didn't murder anyone.
Yes, Tenma's good to go. And it's also, I mean, it's so thriller. Like you see him go over the balcony, and like there's a couple of times where Tenma's like, I probably killed him. And so, as everyone knows in a thriller, probably means definitely not.
Until you've seen the body, that person is not dead.
Yep, and here he is, and so it's just a really great, I think it's the kind of thing where readers are probably waiting for Roberto to come back. They're like, is he? And here he is, and it's a good reveal.
Mm-hmm. He points his pen at Tenma like a gun, because he's got a pen taking notes. Like, it's so good. So the Roberto reveal is good. Do you have notes on because it kind of subsumes the chapter a little bit. Do you have notes on anything else that happens here?
I do actually. Let me find it.
The one note I had, and I don't even remember what page this is, but I had a note that the terror page on 88 is very good. I think that's Ava waking up from her nightmare.
That nightmare. I mean, there is. Oh, there's stuff to talk about regarding the nightmare, for sure, big time, actually. I forgot that was this chapter. Okay, so there's a couple of things. One, so there's a conversation that, that Reichwein and Verneman have, and, Verneman says, listen to me, Dr. Reichwein. In this country, people just want to find a scapegoat. I want to fight for real justice. Judges and prosecutors are always looking for an easy way to convict the innocent of crimes they didn't commit, so this country continues to repeat past mistakes. And so here's Urasawa just going in on the justice and carceral system.
It is a really interesting way to frame the Holocaust, is saying, like, framing people, convicting people for crimes that they didn't commit, right? Where you're like, oh, yeah, I mean, like, Hitler's whole propaganda against the Jewish people is like, these are the people who've led to the downfall of Germany, right? Like, and obviously it's more complicated than that, but to have this character kind of simplify it to like, yeah, we were convicting innocent people of crimes that they didn't commit is an interesting way to like give more weight to this guy's like one thing, right?
Yeah. I personally, that's tying in the Holocaust to this is an interesting pick. I don't think that's
maybe
like
not
in the
great,
text anywhere, but I see where you're coming from. Like, there's something
because
there.
like obviously after that you have the whole Cold War, like, spies and secret police putting people away. I think you can kind of draw a really big circle that either includes that or doesn't. But it's interesting to frame it that way, at least.
And and Verdeman says the important thing is for the whole country to reflect on true justice. And that's an interesting concept. What does true justice mean? What does Urasawa think it means? What does Verdeman think it means? What does Monster think it means? So I'm curious to see how this concept, because you can really, like, even though it's a comic and everything's all caps, like, you can feel the capital letters on true justice. You know what I mean? So
these are the words for this section, is truth and justice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to see what it turns out to, and then we get to Ava, and Ava's such a fucking mess.
Ava's the worst. I mean,
Ava's a mess. I love her. I love every time she's on screen.
It is just a baffling level of drunk that she is getting all of the time. It's really funny that she was like the popular socialite and now she's just the town drunk, right?
Yeah, she's just everybody hates her, everybody pities her. And she's
Reichwein is
drunk.
like, it's so funny that Reichwein, who is a guy who is like the alcoholism counselor, is stuck with this lady who does not want to stop being an alcoholic at all, right?
Yeah,
like,
he says to Verdeman, and I love this. This is one of my favorite panels in the series, actually. He says, she's a bit of a sticky wicket, that one. And he's like pulling down on his mustache. It's a really like oddly funny panel.
It's a good panel.
And then otherwise quite serious reading.
Because Verdeman's reaction shot is just a question mark. It's really like, good too.
Like, what do you mean? But we know what he means. It's Ava, baby.
Oh, and I mean, like further down on that page, the shot of Ava, she just has her glass of whiskey up to her face, like covering her eyes. It's so good. Like all of the panels of her just being drunk off her ass are good. They're frustrating.
She's going so hard in this sequence. She finishes her glass, she goes right for the bottle, she falls the fuck asleep. And then of course that's when that cool ass nightmare happens. The big nightmare is the next chapter. Okay, that's what I thought. Or it's at some point.
Well, it's not a nightmare. It's like a recollection there's a good. I think the one you were thinking of. But she relives Junker's being shot by Johann. Right. All of her memories of that night. And when she wakes up, she says gunshots, 3 gunshots. I didn't see him. Because she knows like that's the key is that she saw him. Right.
Yeah, and the chapter, to be clear, like ends with the Roberto reveal, and his cheeks are a little bit sunken,
a little more gaunt. Yeah,
like he is not his hale, hearty self. This is a man back from the grave,
back from the dead. Yeah,
it's
good.
It's fucking scary. All right.
The only other note I had, and I forgot to call this earlier, I did think it was funny that, when they're reviewing the testimony, Fritz kind of tells Reichwein, hey, maybe leave out that bit about Tenma buying an illegal sniper rifle. Yeah. Just like, I don't know
if that's going to help us that much, really. Yeah. Chapter 109, Decision. Gunter talks to a mob connection that's also a legal counsel, and he says he's gonna get out. He's king of the prison break. Wahoo. He pretends to get sick. He's so good at it. And he gets to be in the infirmary with Tenma, and Tenma says that he wants to escape because Roberto is gonna kill Ava. We have a little conversation between the two of them, which basically is just Roberto going, "I'm gonna kill her," and Tenma going, "No," and Roberto goes, "Oh, I'm gonna do it." It's.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Yeah, for real. And so then Gunter uses code to tell Tenma when they're gonna escape. Meanwhile, Verdeman and Reichwein are talking to Ava, and Verdeman's like, please testify. And Ava says, no. Like, she does the fucking like Bugs Bunny, like long lips. Like, no. And then Tenma confesses to the murders of the hospital personnel all the way back when. Bum bum.
Bum bum. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a lot of notes on this chapter. It didn't really do anything for me.
No, this chapter, I have like no notes on it, but I'll say this. The word that I have for this chapter is serviceable.
Okay.
Like it technically moves each of these individual plot pieces into the places they need to be for the next thing. It's just like a mechanics chapter. It's like, we know where we're going, and this chapter is just helping us get there. And, I mean, here's my question. How much of this chapter could have been cut? What parts of the chapter do you think are necessary?
Gunter telling Tenma when they're gonna escape? I think that's it. I mean, maybe even that we can skip.
Yeah, like, we already know that Ava doesn't want to testify. Like, I don't think that's super important. I think we could have used, like, half of the pages that we had for that conversation between Tenma and Roberto. Like, we didn't need that many pages for Roberto to go, yeah, I'm gonna kill her.
I'm gonna kill her. Yeah. I mean, maybe him confessing is the only piece that we need, because, like, that's what kind of sets the next set of wheels into motion.
I don't know. It's really, like, but we're talking about wheel spinning, and
I think we can cram those two things, Roberto and Tenma confessing, into the end of the last chapter and be fine.
What this strikes me as another place where we can use a D&D metaphor, which is like, we're on a journey from this town to this town. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna simulate camping every fucking night as you go from this town to that town? Or are you just gonna cut to the next part of the story where story stuff is happening? And this really feels like wheel spinning to get us to the place that we already know where we're going.
Yeah.
Which just, like, isn't, it's not the best use of pages or time. So I'm not, like, angry at this chapter, but it doesn't feel like a super vital one. How about I do it this way? The status quo doesn't change.
Yeah.
Like, it only changes at the very end.
Yeah. I mean, like, if I was reading this week to week, or, like, even bi-weekly, and this was the chapter I got, I would be frustrated.
I'd be like, yeah, okay. All right, I guess I gotta wait until next week for something cool to happen.
Yeah.
And that's not a feeling you want to have after waiting a week for a chapter.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
Especially like after, the last
last chapter was good. We ended on a high note, the Roberto reveal.
Yeah, Roberto reveal. I mean, that's a hell of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then here it's just like, well, this doesn't feel like it's, different stuff could have been done with this chapter to make it more interesting, more riveting, and to change the status quo more. Like, melding this chapter with the next chapter
anywhere else, or the previous,
yeah.
Just a big fat fart.
That seems. I think that's meaner than it needs.
The only two positives in this are we get Tenma with stubble, with a little bit of stubble, which is the best version of Tenma.
Yeah, true.
And Tenma goes on hunger strike, which reminds me of the best Temple of the Dog song, which is hunger strike. And that's the only two positives of this chapter.
Yeah. You know what? This is, we were talking before about, like, other things to make this little prison break arc more interesting. This would have been a great chapter for there to be, like, a physical threat to Tenma within the prison. Like, or you're talking to Roberto, and Roberto's like, I'm gonna kill your ex-fiancé, and also,
There's a
watch
guy in there
out.
who's gonna stab you.
Yeah, and then wow, hey, there's some stuff we could have spent an extra chapter in the prison, even if there had been something like
Tenma
that.
could have
to
gotten in a
push us
prison
along.
fight. We could have seen him out in the yard. Man, that would have been cool.
I mean, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
here we are, we're getting dragged into this other genre, and we're half-assing.
We don't get the fun
here.
parts of it. Yeah,
we don't get the fun parts because, and of course we're not, because we can't just jump all the way into this genre. It can only be like a quick visit, so we're not gonna get everything we need to get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so anyway,
man.
I think we've beat that horse enough.
Yeah, that's fair. Chapter 110.
Muddy Sandwiches. The chapter opens with Ava reminiscing on a ruined picnic she went on with Tenma, thinking that he smiled so sadly. We then cut to the news that Tenma has confessed to the murders, shocking everyone. Reichwein goes to the police station complaining of torture and foul play, but Fritz pulls him aside and says he's sure Tenma wasn't tortured, but doesn't know what caused the sudden change of heart, because no one will let him in to see Tenma. Fritz and Bauer, Roberto, discuss the situation, and Roberto asks about Ava. Fritz says she's kind of a flake and that he should meet her alone. Fritz goes to Ava's room to plead for her to testify, but she won't open the door. He talks about his father and his obsessive need to prove the innocence of the people he believes in. As he leaves, he puts Bauer/Roberto's business card under the door, and Ava grabs it. She goes on a walk through Dusseldorf, reminiscing on more memories of Tenma, including the picnic, which is revealed to have been ruined by her. A young boy offers her a sandwich, and she has a change of heart and calls Bauer/Roberto, revealing her location and agreeing to testify. Elsewhere, Milch and Tenma are loaded into the prison transport and share knowing looks, ready to escape.
Yeah. This might be the best chapter in the reading.
I really like the next one just because of the characters.
I think the next one might be a little better, but this one I think is
this one's good. Yeah, this one's good.
Yeah, this one things pick up a little bit because now we're learning things about characters. Now stuff is moving a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty good, and I love hanging out with Ava.
Yeah, I like seeing Ava and Tenma's relationship before the start of the story. Like how he is bending over backwards to make her happy, and her whole thing is that she's a miserable person, right?
Yeah, she's a miserable person, and you can really tell that like Tenma is endearing himself to her because you can tell she's like, why is this guy?
Why won't you leave? I keep trying to get you to leave.
Yes. Yeah, which is really great. And like we talked before, like Ava, 3-dimensional character. Like here's the stuff that she cares about. Like I love spending time with Ava because the more we learn about her, the more rich she becomes.
Yeah,
at this point, she's one of the best developed characters in the whole series.
She is, and it's really interesting that we've been able to develop her through just kind of the same beats over and over again, right? Like she's mad at Tenma, she doesn't like connecting to people, and she's a drunk, right? But like, I don't know, there's something that it's not like we've learned something like we don't have her growing up and her dad telling her that like, oh, you're never good enough or anything like that. It's just, we're seeing these things that we've known from the start, but somehow seeing them over and over again from like slightly different angles has constructed something full.
Well, I think the reason why this one is different is because this one is actually not about Ava. This one's about Tenma.
Yes.
Right? We don't learn anything new about Ava, but we learn a lot about what Tenma was like before we met him at the start of the series. He was, he had that smile and the sandwiches, doing the picnic and everything. Like we see Tenma as she fell in love with him, and that is really seeing that part of their shared history tells us so much.
Yeah, the one detail that I think is really, really cool in her remembering the story of the picnic is that panel ends in kind of, it looks like a, hang on, let me look at it so I make sure that I'm describing it correctly. So the panel where he's holding the sandwich and he's smiling so sadly, the bottom, there's two smaller panels kind of at the bottom, almost like it's a picture that has been cut up, right? Which like, traditional breakup imagery, right? Like you're cutting up all the old pictures and burning them and stuff like that. So it's because it's not quite glass shattering, right? But to me, like I said, it really looks like it's a picture that has been cut up.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. We've got some diagonals there.
Mhm.
Some very gentle ones, and you can cutting up is a really good word for it, because to me it reads a lot like, well, you see this particular visual thing used in manga and Western comics both to denote the passage of time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Primarily is what this little motif does. And we haven't seen this used this way before in Monster, but it creates this really cool image, a feeling of the past fading, of it fading away. And you can also see that happening. There's like some hatching that fades Tenma out the further down he gets. And this is, and so it's, and a
It's
guy
good.
smiling sadly, holding a muddy sandwich. I mean, it's a really great image. So much pathos.
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't like a straight 1-to-1, but like, okay, so we have that big page of Tenma smiling sadly, and then you flip the page and you've got Tenma's mugshot confessing to, I'm responsible for these murders.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Absolutely.
pretty cool too. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's not like a quite 1-to-1 like Jack in the Box or something like that, but it's a pretty good like illustration of how far we have come, right? And the other note that I have here is like flashback Ava is horrible, but in a very different way that current Ava is horrible, right? It's, and like you said, we're seeing her fall in love with him. She just doesn't quite know how to express it. I also think that it's interesting, kind of we haven't really commented on this before, but kind of the revisionism that Ava has brought to the story of her and Tenma breaking up, right? Like, if we remember, what happens is Tenma operates on Johan instead of the mayor dies, Tenma is disgraced, Ava breaks up with him, right? Eventually, later, things go bad, Ava's father dies, Tenma ascends, and she begs for him to take her back, but he will not. Right, so like the way that she has fully bought into this, he left me and has ruined my life, as like that's not what happened, and we know that's not what happened.
It really, yeah, and seeing, it's also like, it kind of brings to mind like what does she associate Tenma with? Why is she so attached to him? And I think the answer is like, the moment, like when she and Tenma like broke up around there, when her dad,
when her life fell
died,
apart,
her life all fell apart. So so she's attached to Tenma not just because she has feelings for him, because she does, but because he is the closest thing to a support that she has. He was the only person who actually gave a shit about her, and so she has these rose-colored goggles and just wants him for herself.
Damn, we got to talk about the bear after we finish recording. We got to do maintaining balance after
about
this.
The bear. Ooh, that's fun.
We got to talk about the bear. Yeah.
Great.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. She's a really fun character and a really interesting one in the world of Monster, because she is a purely selfish one.
Mm-hmm.
Purely selfish, and there aren't honestly a lot of those. Like, I think Johan is the only other one that I can really, really think of. Almost everyone else is doing something, is making choices on behalf of someone else, or they care about someone else's goals, at least,
And like, how cool is it that Tenma, whose life has been thrown into disarray by this selfless act that he did, right? The only person who can save him, right, is the most selfish woman in the universe doing one selfless thing, right? Like putting her life on the line.
About to break out of prison
to keep her from dying.
Her fucking life.
Uh-huh.
Even though he knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that she just wants him to suffer.
And he says it to Roberto, right? Like, he says, she won't testify against me. She hates me. And Roberto says, like, I'd be doing you a favor then, killing her. Right?
Yeah, but here Tenma is, like,
doing
about
it anyways,
to make himself even more of a criminal than he already is, becoming an actual criminal for the first time, just to save this fucking ingrate, this selfish boozer. It's awesome.
It's good.
So cool. In fact, you know what it is? This honestly strikes me as rockin' behavior.
Oh.
Like, I think Tenma might be rocking again.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
I think there's probably better. I think there's a better candidate for rocking.
Oh,
here.
there's one particular guy who's rocking, but
there's definitely a rocker. But we gotta, we are solemnly sworn to recognize a rock when we see it.
Oh, Tenma's rocking this week.
Yes, Tenma, stone cold, diamond hard. He's rocking.
Prison breaks are a keystone of the dude's rock genre, as illustrated by cable movies, like which we talked about. We will be watching The Fugitive. We're not going to watch The Shawshank Redemption because I don't like that movie. But
we can watch The Shawshank Redemption. Come on, I've never seen it. It's a good excuse.
Yeah, you're probably right.
We should watch The Great Escape, though.
Okay, that one's great. I love that movie.
Yeah, we should definitely watch The Great Escape. You know what we should do? We should watch it the way Urasawa would have watched it.
In Japanese? Are you sure?
No, not in Japanese. We should watch it by stopping halfway through and waiting a week.
Okay, that's better. I was about to say that does not sound fun to me.
No, we don't need to watch the fucking Japanese stuff. That'd be fun. What do you think about this whole monologue Verdeman has outside of Ava's room?
It's a bit much,
It's a bit much.
It's melodramatic. I don't care for it. But
and I get that we're trying to Urasawa's communicating there's a darkness in this man. There's something wrong with him.
He's a little twisted.
Yeah. Verdeman's Tumblr. Welcome to my fucked up mind. He's got the embedded music player playing over the rainbow. Yeah. Fuck. He's posting rants about his clients.
Yeah. Man.
The idea of Tumblr girly Verdeman is absolutely fucking sending me into the stratosphere right now.
The TikTok lawyer, right? Do you know that guy? Lolo?
No.
Oh, he is about as close.
I know the Legal Eagle on YouTube.
No. This is Alex Peters. He's a public defender. The joke on TikTok for a long time was people just referred to him as our lawyer, all these TikTok people, and they'd be like, hey, just wanted to let you know about this crime that I've committed. And he kept making TikToks like, stop telling me about crimes that you've committed. I am not your lawyer. And everyone was like, no, you are. You're our lawyer. You're the TikTok guy. But he's a real good dude. He has done a lot of, he's appeared on different streams and stuff, like raising money for bail funds and stuff like that. It's Alex Peters. I think his ad is lol overruled, all one word, which then gets shortened to Lolo.
So anyway, what we're seeing here is that we've got the TikTok lawyer and we've got the Legal Eagle on YouTube, and Verdeman is the Tumblr.
He's somewhere in between. He's the Tumblr lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has like a dark academia blog where he also gives legal advice.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's too much. I don't care for him. But
he's a lot. He's
getting the job done.
Tenma has to be innocent, just like my father. My father, just like my father had to be innocent. It's a lot, and it's another thing. It's doing the Gunja thing. It's doing the thing that Monster does, where it's like, your childhood trauma, that's what's gonna get you. That's always what gets you. Which is true. Which also, that's interesting, because who we haven't seen any childhood trauma for is Ava. You would just kind of think maybe that we would see some of that by this point, but no. So that's kind of unusual. This is
a different TikTok meme. It's the, all of you, this is fatherless behavior, and the guy goes, I fucking love my dad.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's a bit much, and it's like it just feels like we're only getting surface. We're only getting symptom. We're not getting it. We're not really seeing the cause, and it's clear that the cause is happening in the next chapter after this reading. It's going to happen. That chapter 114 is Son of the Spy. Or whatever. So it's it's coming.
We're so close. We're almost there.
It's kind of I don't. It's not a fun cliffhanger. It's not a fun tease. We're not I really want to know what's going on. It's kind of
it's more stop trying to make me care about this guy. Just tell me what his deal is. Yeah.
Yes. I would care about him more if we knew more about him. You've given us just barely not enough. Either give us less than this or give us more than this. This is not a comfortable space to be in. It's just kind of uncomfortable. Yeah,
my last note was in Monster. One of the other universal truths now is sandwiches are the ultimate tool of emotional breakthroughs.
It does seem like sandwiches are they're a very important food.
Yeah, sandwiches are good.
There was a fun little bit where Ava's Dusseldorf. I know every part of this town. God, I hate it here.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's really... It's in
Ava.
a reading full of like characterization that doesn't quite hit the mark. Ava's
That
firing
does.
all cylinders.
Mhm.
Great Ava reading. Super good Ava reading.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Want to move on? 111?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this is me. Hi. Chapter 111. Helene and Gustav. A man is lying in the middle of the road. A car is approaching and swerves around him. He gets back up and says, my timing's off. They can still swerve around me. I gotta fall at the right time for them to just stop. From off the road and from a car, someone calls out, "Hey, are you really gonna marry me today?" And he says, "Hell yeah." And so we meet Helene and Gustav, a couple of ne'er-do-wells, Team Rocket ass, cocaine-taken ass, breeding kink ass.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say that.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have said it, but
I think she's just
and
horny and high.
I'm not editing it. He says he's gonna knock her up with a whole litter of kids. He'll have enough for an entire soccer team. That's breeding kink. Should we just cut that? We might, maybe. Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see how it strikes us.
We'll see how it feels. She really wants some fucking babies, though. But anyway, these two are really cute and kind of dysfunctional. And we cut to Gunter and Tenma in the car being transported to hospital? Another prison? I think it's a hospital.
I think it's another prison. Maybe it's a hospital. I don't know.
It's goddamn.
They're being transported.
It's somewhere. They're in a van. It's not like they get there, so who cares?
Who cares?
And Helene and Gustav, they talk a bit, and they're like, "We're gonna go straight. No good comes from waving a gun around." And he walks out into the road. Oh, got the timing wrong. Gets fucking hit. Gets fucking slam-bammed by the van.
Just obliterated.
Absolutely gobsmacked, brother. And when the guard says, "I hit someone," Gunter's like, "Fuck. You hit him? Well, the plan's a no-go. You're not supposed to hit him." And as Tenma is checking out whether Gustav is dead, he is, by the way, he grabs Gustav's gun.
No, he's not dead.
He's not dead? He's almost dead. Oh, he's not dead. He's not
dead.
But he's not. He's in a bad way. He's poorly.
He's messed up.
Yeah. But he has a gun, and so then Tenma grabs the gun. And now Tenma's got a gun. And that's the end of the chapter. He's got a gun.
Dude, this chapter rips shit. I love these guys. They suck so much.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, like,
they are so slimy.
They're so slimy. They are as tropey as it gets. Some of the tropiest tropers we've seen in this whole series, and I love them.
They're so good.
They are the character equivalent of shitty, greasy mac and cheese that you put bacon into, and I am here for it.
Well, they're the fast food restaurant, or they're the diner robbers at the beginning of the beginning and end of Pulp Fiction. It's Tim Roth and his girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean,
Team Rocket, like you said,
Bonnie and Clyde. They're that team. They're that combo.
And they're so just like nonchalantly cool and how terrible they are, right? Like her just kind of leaning out the window saying like, "Are you gonna marry me?" Like it's fantastic. It's a Tarantino movie. It's a Wes Anderson. It's whatever. The colors are so bright and saturated.
It's so Tarantino. These
two. Man, just him talking about literally the stupidest and most simple plan in the world, fall down and pretend to get hit by a car as if he's planning a master heist, is just like so good to me.
He's repeating it over and over again, and like you can tell instantly that these guys are so dumb.
They're so stupid.
They're really stupid.
It's
and even
so
Gunter
good.
says that later. He's like, I tried to teach him, but he was too dumb for it. Like he couldn't get the hang of it.
He was too dumb to fall down in the street. It's so good.
Yeah, but it also, like, this is a moment where I really like Gunter because he's not expecting this, and he's sad. Like, you can tell, like, He
Oh,
knows
yeah.
he's doomed. He
Yeah.
knows, like, that's the fucking, like, and, you know, and then he sees Helene, like, screaming for Gunter, and he's like, oh, fuck, Helene, you know, he's really sad about it. And, you know, he's just in shock. And so seeing this incredibly one-note character have even one other note, you know, is like, oh, wow, another note?
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wow, we have an interval here. Nice, you know, like, come on, man.
It's good. I love how the guards are like immediately, the fucking cops are immediately like, okay, we got to figure out how we can spin this so that it's not our fault.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Dude, this series, it doesn't say ACAB, but it does say
it pretty much
scab,
says ACAB.
which
Okay,
is
scab.
which is
what is that? Some cops are bad.
Some cops are bastards. Which I just came up with now.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always funny seeing a guy just unexpectedly get hit by a car. It's a move that TV shows pull a lot, but
and especially, you know, we'll go straight. There's nothing good about waving a gun at people. I love you so much. Bam.
In retrospect, of course, this is what was going to happen as soon as he started saying this. But like, man, it's timed so perfectly. You know that Urasawa was cackling as he drew that motherfucker getting hit by a van. Yeah. It was just
fucking truck coon at it again.
So it's really good. The one thing I will say is like, this is a bit from The Fugitive. This is how they escape in that movie. Is
what?
Yes, it's someone
they
pretends
do this bit.
Yeah, someone pretends to be sick on a prison bus, and then the bus has an accident. The bus crashes, and then everyone escapes.
Wow. Yeah. And so, it's a good ending thing.
Yeah.
Like, the ending panel is good. Tenma's got a gun.
Oh,
and he looks like
good.
He's about to use it.
He's ready to use it.
We are seeing Tenma kind of feral right now,
It's
honestly.
real good. We're in like, I mean, and this is also very, it's like, you can imagine the way that this would be shot in a movie, right? It's like, we've got all sorts of sound and stuff, and then we go silent, and we cut to the wide shot of, you know, Tenma pointing the gun at everyone, right? And we can just hear, like, there's nothing but the sound of, like, maybe a motor in the distance, or, like, birds or something, and we just hold on this
at the start of the next chapter, we have...
That's what it is. So that's what I'm pulling from. Yeah.
Totally.
But
and speaking of next chapter, this definitely, like, pacing wise, concept wise, this is our strongest chapter in the reading. Like, I like last chapter a lot because I like spending time with Ava. I'm just a sucker for Ava. But this chapter structurally is the strongest because it is, look at it this way. This chapter is what all of the bunk of the previous chapters has been leading up to. All of the prison break shit that wasn't quite working for us, all of the buildup of Gunter and everything. It was so that we could have this chapter and this sequence with these characters. So of course it's good.
I love it when a plan goes wrong, and I love it when we have kooky characters as a plan goes wrong.
Yeah,
there's not a lot to talk about. It does everything good. It's just good.
Everything good. This is such a snacky, bite-sized chapter. Mm-hmm. You know, I would recommend people to read this chapter by itself.
I think you probably could. It would work. I think it's a short story, you know.
I think you could. Yeah. It kind of, you know, it also has a bit of a Twilight Zone feel to it. Like,
if you
bit. Like, ignore
I mean,
some of the other
you know, dramatic irony and all that stuff. The way that Twilight
maybe
Zone
it's less Twilight Zone and more just pulp in general. It has a bit of a pulpy feel.
Yeah,
you know. Okay, chapter 112, Matt.
Escape. We open exactly where we left off. Tenma's holding everyone at gunpoint and demands the key to the handcuffs. Meanwhile, Ava goes to the hotel lobby and drinks while waiting for Bauer/Roberto to arrive. She sees the news that Tenma has escaped and is thrown off balance, trying to piece the whole situation together. She starts to realize what's going on and then is plunged into a panic attack by a familiar voice, Roberto. She rushes back to her hotel room and is overwhelmed by his scent and her memories of their time together. We cut back to the prison break. Milch, Tenma, Helene, and Gustav speed down the road as Tenma tries to provide first aid. Milch insists that they'll have to switch cars and dump Helene and Gustav, but Tenma holds Milch at gunpoint and makes him drive towards Eisler Memorial Hospital. We cut back to Ava. Someone is knocking at the door. Tenma leaves Helene with the car and a note explaining exactly how Gustav was injured so the doctors can quickly provide life-saving care. Tenma and Milch prepare to part ways so Tenma can go to save Ava, and Milch comments that he knew Tenma was never really a killer. Tenma reflects on this and realizes that since Roberto's not dead, he is in fact not a killer, just a jailbreaker, as Milch comments. The two smile, and as they leave, Milch says they can meet up in Tunisia someday. Back at the hotel, Ava opens the door.
Well, This is pretty good. Definitely, like, going through this stuff again, the second half of this reading
It's good.
is
Like, we're moving
so much
now.
better than the first.
From
Like,
Ava onwards, like that Ava the sandwich chapter to the end.
And obviously, like, crazy how this happens as soon as Tenma's out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we are back in what Monster is about.
Almost as if that was an unnecessary detour. Like,
wild,
like you pointed out.
Crazy. Yeah. This chapter, there's some interesting stuff going on in this chapter. First off, here's a question: the little like waiter dude that's bringing Ava something to drink. Does he kind of look like the bartender from The Shining to you?
Let me get to it. I'm almost there.
Page 169.
169. Yeah, a little bit. That's a good.
Yeah,
that's a good pull.
You see what I'm saying?
A little bit. Yeah,
know.
he looks like what's that guy's name? Wayne. It's not Wayne. That's a real good scene. I watch that one every once in a while. Of just him pulling out the dollar bill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good scene. It's a good movie. Oh, he asks her if she wants a drink, and she says she wants coffee.
Interesting. I didn't note that, but that is important, I think.
I guess that's because she's planning on testifying to keep Tenma in jail. Although, yeah. She's like, why did he escape?
I think she's trying to convince herself that that's why she's going to testify, but it almost feels like she's already conceded that she's going to testify to get him out.
Totally. Yeah, and then she hears the voice. Well, yeah, the panic attack is good.
Well, I think the camera kind of starts to spin as she sees the news report and kind of starts to realize what's happening. And then, as the panic attack kicks in and we get, eventually I think we get to scramble panels.
We do. Yeah. As she runs back to her room, we get to, I like calling them scramble panels. Yeah, we get to diagonals, pretty harsh ones. And especially as she starts remembering, the time that her and Roberto
boned. I hate it. I hate looking at it.
I hate it. It really and reading this, I feel pretty duncely for when I said during that sequence that maybe it was like kind of consensual, because buddy, that's not how this makes it look. This makes it look like sexual assault, real bad, looks absolutely horrible, makes me sick to my stomach.
Dude, I mean,
we get these like awful shots of Roberto, like his eyes are fucking open, he's fucking like his tongue is out. Oh my god, it's
And it's like to me the best part of that sequence is we have sequences of them we have images of them having sex, and then we cut to, as you turn the page, it's bam, the panel of Roberto shooting her in the leg and her like splaying out, falling down the hill.
Yeah, like that's associated with this. It's good. All, I
mean, it's horrible and horrifying,
absolutely
but like
horrible.
It's good.
Like honestly, like if you have experienced trauma of this sort, you probably don't want to read these couple pages. If I had to guess, it is kind of intense. Yeah, woof. Yeah, and it's I love Tenma's. I'm gonna point a gun at you, so you take somebody to the hospital.
Always a good move.
Or like he does a lot of pointing guns at people. For someone who doesn't do a lot of shooting. Yeah.
You said, why are you back in Dusseldorf? To me, this move, like seeing that shot of the hospital again, I was like, oh wow, going
back to Eisler. I forgot that they went back to Eisler and put themselves at risk that way. That is why they're back in Dusseldorf. I
like that we see the hospital again.
I'll take the L on this one. Going back to Dusseldorf was the right move. I just didn't like going to prison.
You're right. Yeah. So it's good.
Tenma says he's still alive. As long as he's alive, there's still hope.
Yep, he's taken Milch's lesson. Now he knows about hope.
It seems a little bit easy, though, really. That he's like, this one guy. Yeah. This one guy's like, hey, I have hope. You don't. And Tenma's like, shit, I guess I need to have hope.
I simply will have hope.
Yes. Exactly.
No one mentioned this to me before. This is a new concept.
Hope. Oh, interesting.
I like the way they leave. This is the Shawshank Redemption, right? Is like, which I know you said you haven't seen that movie, but like one of the things in that's a prison story. One of the things that the main character and the narrator, because there's a narrator who is telling the story of a guy who escapes from prison, and one of the things that they say to each other is like, oh, when we get out, we're gonna go meet up on this beach, on an island in the Bahamas somewhere, right? And it's like that is this here, right? Is like, we'll meet up in Tunisia someday. They're never going to meet up in Tunisia.
They're not, yeah.
But
I love that last line.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. It's really... It's a good farewell for a character that, maybe didn't deserve that good of an ending line.
No, but I hope he makes it there. He won't, but I hope he does.
Definitely. All right. Chapter 113, room 402. Tenma goes to O'Shea's pub and asks about Ava. He figures out which hotel he's at. He steals someone's coat and bounces before somebody can call the cops on him. And the front desk person just gives him her room number because this is Monster, and for some reason people just give out addresses like they are candy on Halloween. So he finds out her room number. In the meantime, Verdeman can't get hold of Bauer for pretty obvious reasons, and him and Reichwein have a conversation about having faith in people. Lunga shows up at Verdeman's office. Tenma finds Ava's room. She's already moved out. Oh, fuck. Lunga and Verdeman talk a little bit, but not about what you might think. They talk about the fact that Verdeman's father's radio station has had readings of Klaus Papa's and Franz Bonaparte's books in the past, including, Where Am I? Which is, I guess, another one of those things. Another one of those books. So basically, somehow, Verdeman's father is connected to Klaus Papa and the Red Rose Mansion. And, of course, Franz Bonaparte held a very important post in the Czech secret police. All of this, very exposition-y stuff, which I don't know if I summarized very well, to say, it's implying that, hey, Verdeman's dad was, in fact, a spy. Bum, 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 bum. And Verdeman's not very pleased about this. This chapter's all right.
Yeah, it's an interesting mishmash.
Definitely. It's a bit unfocused, I would say. Yeah,
the stuff at the end, like you said, it's finally like, okay, I kind of get where this guy is going now. And it's just it felt like it took us a little bit too long. It took us too long to figure out what was going on with Fritz, and simultaneously Fritz was too much the entire time it took us to get there.
Yes.
So I'm interested. I'm hell yeah, Lunga, for showing up and continuing to be single-mindedly focused on the task at hand, which is what is going on in this mansion, which is the most interesting mystery box that we have right now. So I'm glad that Lunga is here to continue Rubik's cubing that out for me.
Definitely.
So
yeah, it's fun that Lunga's carrying that along while Tenma's doing other stuff.
How cool is that, right? That a guy who was on the wrong track for the whole first half of the story now is the only one who cares about the actual solution to this.
Yep.
It's good.
So O'Shea's pub.
It's Quinn's Bar Corner. Tell us about it.
Corner. So, there does not appear to be an O'Shea's pub in Dusseldorf, although there is an O'Reilly's pub in Dusseldorf. That said, about an hour west of Dusseldorf, in the Netherlands, there is a city called Eindhoven, and there is an O'Shea's there.
Look at that.
is what I have discovered. Also, the hotel, the name of the hotel given here is the Hotel Steigend, which does not exist in Dusseldorf, although there does appear to be a Hotel Steigenberger. So make of that what you will. I don't have anything else interesting to say about it, but whenever they give a proper name for something, I'm like, well, is this real? And most of the time it's not. But I do think it's always fun to do. Also, there is a weird point of order regarding... So, according to the records, in August 1996, it featured... basically, there's they put the wrong year in here. Because
do you think it's the wrong year, or do you think this dude was just kicking around for a while?
No, he wasn't kicking around. He went to jail in 1968. So there's no way his radio station could have broadcast this in 1996.
Oh, yeah.
So it must have happened, like, or I think he went to jail in 68. It was somewhere around there. So, like, according to the records, so it has to be, like, the year must have been wrong. It must have been 66 or 76 or 86, somewhere in there. But just like in case any readers were like, well, why did they use that year? It has to be a mistake because that timeline just doesn't work out. But yeah, and look, the records say that he flew there July 1996. That's not right. Czechoslovakia didn't even exist in 1996.
Wait, hang on. Where's that? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it has to... I mean, Czechoslovakia... I mean, when did Czechoslovakia break up? What, 80-something, right? No, 91, wasn't it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, it had to have been either 76 or 86. It's just a goof. But it's our job to take him down.
To put the screws to this author. Not,
the screws
you know.
Yeah, Urasawa, he thinks he can get away with anything.
113 chapters without mistakes? Not on our watch.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
Listeners, of course we are being sarcastic and facetious and whatever the things are, just in case this gets clipped.
This guy's... No, we've been clipped. Not
clipped.
Fuck. No. It's... God.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, like, even if the specifics aren't there, like you said, it's a little complicated, this whole, like, needlessly
it's a lot of
convoluted
exposition. It's just like it's a lot of this, like, oh, and like the records show, like, oh, he visited here and he was connected to this guy and he visited this dude and he was getting paid by this dude, you know.
I don't think we needed to get so specific. I think we could have stayed general.
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. It kind of feels a bit like I don't know. It could have been edited. It just could have been edited. That's all. But
I gotta see where we're going now. Like, I'm
absolutely
I'm excited to keep reading after we wrap.
I cannot wait to read the next reading. Yeah. I cannot wait at all. Very
it's gonna be
excited.
Sick.
Very excited. But yeah,
that brings us to the end of today's reading.
Well, segments. Yeah, favorite Tenma moment.
I think it's Tenma pointing the gun at everyone, like when he gets the gun during the accident.
I think for me, I think that's a cool moment. That is a cool moment. For me, it is when he hears about his patients.
Oh, that's a very good one.
Yeah. And I also like the muddy sandwiches, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's very nice.
That's solid. Yeah. Favorite side character moment?
It's Roberto saying that he's learned to use his other arm so he can murder Ava.
Yeah.
That's just cool. That's just hard.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it, but actually maybe my favorite is as Ava's in the park remembering the sandwich thing, a kid runs up to her and offers her a sandwich and she takes it.
It's very nice.
And I think that's really sweet. And then favorite minor character moment, and if it's not Helene and Gustav for both of us,
it's 100% Helene and Gustav. For me, it's Helene leaning on the window, you know, kind of arm out the window, head on her arm, saying, "Are you really gonna marry me today?" Like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really like just all of them.
Their whole chapter,
yeah. It's so cute and ill-fated,
and they're so gross. I love them.
Oh yeah. So gross, so horny. Yeah, very cool stuff. Who do we think is rocking?
Well, you said you thought Tenma was rocking again this week.
Tenma is rocking, but that's a cop out. There are other rockers. I think personally, spies that go to jail.
Spies that go to jail. Okay.
Or
because you got that involves orphanages. Which children?
Locker children.
Locker children are rocking.
Locker children might be rocking.
The lockers are rocking. Don't be knocking.
I guess. Well, no, that's not it. It's mostly just that.
Prison escapees.
Yeah. Like escape artists. How about that?
Escape artists are rocking. There we go. Okay, yes, because he's tragic. He has all the air of tragedy around him.
Yes.
He didn't lose his children. He lost his parents. Prison escapees are rocking.
And then he lost, his whole fucking life because now he's just like trapped in this loop.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Prison escapees. Yeah. They are rocking this week.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. And and with that, Well, here's the thing that you got to know about us. So we got a Patreon.
Patreon.com/Urasawa Boys.
/Urasawa Boys. We have a Twitter, I guess, but man, that is looking less viable by the second.
This is where I'm excited to announce. I got a Blue Sky invite.
Oh, fuck. Nice. Great.
So I've been doing promo over there. Blue Sky is a weird platform. I don't really think I don't know. It's not Twitter.
It doesn't seem like anything's going to happen on it, but you should make an account just to follow us.
Yeah, do we need to sign up for Threads? I don't want to.
No, we're not going to sign up for Threads.
Okay, thank God.
Are you kidding me? I have my pride.
Yeah.
What we should really have is just a goddamn TikTok, it seems like.
Yeah, honestly,
but
I think you're right.
I don't know what we're going to do.
The thing is, I need someone who's not me to go through the episodes and make clips, but it's going to have to be either me or you is the thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck. I mean, I can make...
If you clip it, I can make the video. Yeah, if you just pick audio that you want, we can clip it and make video.
Yeah, we can do it. We can figure it out. But yeah, so we have a Patreon, and so the idea of the Patreon is that you'll give us a little bit of money,
just
and then
smidge.
we are gonna do stuff, and you get access to that stuff. So we're gonna watch these fun movies,
very fun
and
movies,
talk about these movies. We're gonna talk about, we're just gonna have like a little chill out thing with Matt, maintaining balance.
Yeah, as soon as we finish recording this, I'm gonna talk about The Bear for like 10 minutes, and then we're gonna stop recording.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quick because we're getting to dinner time.
Yes.
We're past dinner time.
So maintaining balance, very excited for that. And if you guys have any ideas for other stuff that you'd be interested in having us do that you think would be worth money, honestly, hit us up for it because we would love to be worth your money and we would love to give you, we'd love to have that exchange.
We like to provide value.
We like to think of ourselves as a high-value podcast.
Yeah.
I don't like thinking of myself that way.
Yeah. But hey, I have pointed out things that I think are influences. Quinn has pulled things that he thinks are influences.
If you guys have like suggestions for stuff that we should watch or should consider,
we'll watch it.
Abso-fucking-lutely. We aren't gonna do more than we can, and ultimately we're doing this because we want to, so we're not going to do stuff we don't want to do.
Right, but if we have a good list to pull from, then it gives us encouragement to seek stuff out.
I'm super excited for, and thank you all for sticking with us.
Yeah,
and continuing listening, and super excited to finish up Monster. Excited to get to
we're getting
Pluto.
close.
Oh, we're getting darn close. And with that, Matt, if you wouldn't mind. Who are you?
Yeah, so I'm Matt Fennell. Like I said, I got a Blue Sky invite, so I'm over there now. I'm Matt Fennell. I'm at mattfennell.bsky.app, I think is how it works. I don't know. On the main one, I'm just Matt Fennell.
There's no way this shit's taken off. It's not taken off.
I'm also
dots, it's fucked.
It's 2 dots. It's fucked. I'm also on co-host. I might start hanging out there a little bit more. That seems a bit like a better website.
It seems like it's heating up a tiny bit.
It's got the Tumblr juice a little bit. In a way that's interesting. But blarple.net is still probably the best place to that's actually the website that I own the domain and host that website. So that's me, blarple.net. So that's Matt Fennell. I run the Twitter, which is at Urasawa Boys, like we said, probably less and less relevant.
Yep.
Yeah, Quinn.
By the second.
Quinn, where can the people find you?
So you can find my work, my TTRPG work, at 200 proof. That's 200 proof at 200proof.itch.io. I just recently released Any Percent, and I'm holding up the print proof that I got despite the fact that you can't see it. But man, it's beautiful. It's great.
A very nice looking book.
Really good. I just released Any Percent, which is my tarot-based game of video game speedrunning. You use tarot cards to generate a video game level, and then you use other tarot cards to speedrun it, play it alone, play it with friends. It's honestly a really good time.
It's very fun.
Yeah, and I've got some other games up there too, and I'm on vacation right now, so I haven't been doing anything worthwhile except watching movies. But I presume I'll return to making games sooner rather than later. And that's basically it. I also have a TikTok at authenticity.trip, where I will be posting super views as soon as I get over the trauma of TikTok eating the super view that I edited and tried to post. Just fucking ate it whole, so I'm pretty pissed about that, but I'll get over it. And yeah, I really do think that that's probably it. And I think kind of at this point, the thing that really comes to my mind, the thing that that like Monster really makes me think about, and like talking about Urasawa, thinking about Urasawa. It's really cool stuff, and it just makes me feel like, you know, like I just want to thank you guys for listening, and like I really would like to thank you for being a friend.
Thanks for being a friend.